1975 entitled Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as specified in the Act. Proper notice of this open public meeting was provided in the notice January 6, 2025. Said notice was posted at the entrance of the Board of Education offices, sent to the Nutley Township Clerk, sent to Tappan to Nutley, sent to the Nutley Sun and Star Ledger on January 17, 2025, and posted on the district website. Everyone, please stand for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. DeVito.
Mr. Balsamo.
Here.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin.
Here.
Dr. D'Elia. Mr. Fraginels.
Mr. Fraginals is on his way. He's just be a few minutes late.
Okay. Mr. Gilberti. Mr. Kaczynski.
Here.
Mrs. Quirk.
Here.
Mr. Scotty.
Here.
Mr. Ferraro.
Here. Any correspondence?
None.
I get a motion for approval of the minutes.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, Mr. DeVito, our presentation on the bond refunding.
Okay, thank you. The board will be adopting a bond refunding ordinance tonight. That is the second reading of the resolution, which was first introduced last month. The resolution tonight authorizes our financial advisor to find a reissuer for the refinancing of the bonds. We will only move forward with the refinance if we will save the required 3% present value savings. The board will not incur any fees if we do not realize a 3% savings. As of now, average estimated savings is projected to be approximately $75,000 per year and a $600,000 savings over the remaining life of the bonds, which were originally issued in 2007 at a price of $38,500,000. This savings opportunity will go directly towards the taxpayer. After the bonds are bid, we will know for sure what the savings will be, and I will report back to the board with the results. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeVito. Mr. Banya, our superintendent's report.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening. On Wednesday, February 19th, the district hosted its first transition planning meeting in the John H. Walker Middle School Media Center. 47 participants pre-registered to be a part of this committee, which included parents, faculty members, administrators, Board of Education members, and community representatives. This 2-hour session was the first in a series of work sessions aimed at readying the district for the transition of 6th graders to John H. Walker Middle School in September of 2026. The committee identified both the benefits and the challenges of transitioning to a 6-8 middle school. From these discussions, 4 key areas for focus were determined, which include academics, 5th grade transition, resources, and school operations. The Transition Planning Committee will meet every 3 weeks, working to address challenges and logistics within these focus areas. Information on the transition planning can be found and will be updated on the Superintendent's Corner of the district's website. With the music program, we are thrilled to congratulate our very own choir student government president, Alexis Hamlin, for being recognized by the New Jersey Music Educators Association as a recipient of the 2025 New Jersey Governor's Award in Arts Education for vocal music. Since its establishment in 1980, the New Jersey Governor's Award in Arts Education has been the highest honor a high school student can achieve in their field of study, both statewide and nationally. This May, Alexis will be formally acknowledged by the state of New Jersey for her exceptional performance and contributions to arts education, as one of only 4 vocal music recipients statewide. In addition to this well-deserved recognition, Alexis also makes history as the first student from Nutley to be nominated for and awarded the New Jersey Governor's Award in Arts Education for vocal music. In art, we congratulate art student Zayil Leon on her artistic achievement in receiving the Silver Key Award for their piece In Pursuit of Desire using mixed media. Each year, the Alliance for Young Artists and Writers acknowledge outstanding artistic and writing works from students by presenting them with scholastic art and Writing Awards. Since 1923, the awards have recognized some of the nation's most celebrated artists and writers while they were teenagers, including Stephen King, Amanda Gorman, and Andy Warhol. We are proud to count Zhe Li as a Yale among these esteemed Scholastic Art and Writing Award alumni. Over this past weekend, our robotics team placed third out of 21 teams at their competition. This was the best showing to date at a robotics competition. In the athletic department, we've had a very successful winter athletic season with several noteworthy achievements. First, Coach Bob Harbison celebrated his final home game this past month. Bob has been a dedicated coach and mentor to student athletes for many years, and we thank him for his commitment and leadership. Both the boys and girls basketball team have advanced to the state tournament, with the boys set to play Wednesday at Payne Tech and the girls at Carteret at 5 p.m. Our ice hockey team qualified for the state tournament, and they won their first game today versus Fairlawn at Montclair State University. On the wrestling mat, 8 boys advanced to the regional tournament, which takes place on Friday and Saturday at West Orange High School. For the girls, Michelle Gavilanes placed third at the regions and will advance to the state finals, while Karina Rivera took second place and will also compete in the state finals in Atlantic City. The boys bowling team finished with a remarkable 16-1 record, earning the American Conference Championship. The girls team finished 9-6, securing second place in the American Conference. And we have to acknowledge our dance team, our new dance team, for their outstanding performances at the recent home basketball games. Great job, girls. Upcoming events and recognitions, students and families in grades 7 to 12 are invited to the College and Career Fair in the gymnasium at Nutley High School on Tuesday, March 4th from 6:30 to 8:30. There are representatives from many colleges and career pathways who will be there to answer questions. I would like to say on Thursday of next week, March 6th, in partnership with the Parks and Recreation, Nutley seniors are welcome to attend dinner and a show, which features the students from Nutley High School's culinary department for dinner, preparing dinner, followed by the dress rehearsal of Mean Girls Jr. To follow. The play will officially run from March 7th to 9th, and tickets are on sale online. We will offer the PSATs next Friday at our middle school on March 7th. I'd like to congratulate Nutley High School senior Josiah Daypaz, who has been recognized as an Essex County Unsung Hero. This honor is awarded to students who have made a lasting impact through their outstanding contributions to their schools and communities. Josiah will be celebrated at a county-wide dinner in March. The Academic Booster Club will host its annual science fair on March 23rd at Nutley High School. In addition to the wonderful science projects and displays, the Booster Club also showcases live animals and other science-themed displays as part of the morning's events. Students that are interested should register by March 15th. Information is available on our website. The CHUPS program, traditionally planned for the spring, will be offered next fall. After discussion with many community members, we believe aligning it with the fall-winter holiday season will enhance the experience for participants. Additional information is available on our website. I just wanted to point out some resolutions for approval tonight. The 10-month and 12-month calendars for the 25-26 school year are up for resolution for approval. Please note, we've noticed an error in the spring break on the academic calendar. We will correct that error following this meeting, just the dates. We've also have some resolutions for grant submissions. This includes expansion of the climate grant and an application for the esports grant. We will also have a resolution to approve the John Walker Middle School Program of Studies. This will support scheduling for the next academic year. I'd like to acknowledge some retirements and extend gratitude to Donna Balcato and Anthony Latito for their many years of dedicated service to the district. We wish them the best in their retirement. I'd like to thank everyone for their continued support and dedication to our students and school community. We look forward to an exciting and productive spring ahead. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Banya. Mr. DeVito, our business administrator's report.
I'd just like to give an update on the 2025-26 budget. Over this past month, we have met with all the principals and directors regarding their requests. The governor's budget address is tomorrow. Sometime on Thursday, we will receive our state aid numbers. So we'll know what our revenues will be. And then after that, we'll work on balancing the budget. And the board will have a workshop, and they'll be approving the preliminary budget at our March 17th meeting. So then it can be submitted to the county office for their review. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeVita. Thank you, Mr. DeVita. Is our student representative here tonight? He's not? Okay. All right, we're going to move on to committee reports. I'm going to try to get this right this time because I seem to get it wrong every single time. Academic, Ms. Danchuk Martin.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Academic Committee met on February 20th. Ms. April Vidiello joined the committee and discussed items related to the preschool expansion program, including pre-K Community Resources Handbook, Protective Factors Survey, recent walkthrough from the district's pre-K liaison, and enrollment projections for the next school year. The committee reviewed the John H. Walker Middle School Program of Studies. The committee also reviewed the academic resolutions, including resolutions for esports, climate grants, as well as community-based instruction sites. The committee discussed the budgeting calendar and upcoming work sessions involving the board. The committee discussed conceptual designs regarding John H. Walker Middle School. We also discussed updated timelines and events pertaining to major projects happening in the district. We also discussed requests for field trips, professional development that will be on the agenda tonight. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 13th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Danchuk Martin. Mr. Kaczynski, Administration.
I have it.
Actually, Mr. Kaczynski, you were down in Florida, so you were enjoying the sun. Mr. Balsamo.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The Administration Committee met on February 20th. The committee discussed a matter pertaining to harassment, intimidation, and bullying. The committee discussed recommendations for employment. We also discussed the budgeting calendar and upcoming work sessions involving the board. The committee also discussed conceptual designs for the John H. Walker Middle School. The committee discussed updated timelines and events pertaining to major projects happening around the district. The next meeting of the Administration Committee is scheduled for Thursday, March 13th at 4:30. 4:30, right?
Thank you, Mr. Balsamo. Mr. Fraginals is on his way, so I'm just going to read the finance minutes and notes. Our finance meeting occurred on February 20th, 2025. In attendance was Mr. Fraginals, Mr. D'Elia, Mrs. Makis, Mr. Banya, Mr. DeVita, Ms. Teresa Laurie, and myself. The committee reviewed and spent time on past capital projects in the district and reviewing balances for those projects. We also reviewed projects including the Lincoln School auditorium chairs, the Lincoln hallway floors, our 777 building with our Board of Commissioners that we discussed about a month ago, the middle school media center classroom, budgetary cost analysis for work that would be done there to convert that space into additional classroom space, the PSC&G direct install program, a small amount of asbestos removal project that is needed at Lincoln School, necessary boiler repairs. The committee also reviewed updates to the actions and timelines of our master plan. We reviewed resolutions including the board secretary, treasurer's report, legal services, and the bond refunding. The board discussed the 2025-2026 budget process and having a board workshop in the near future. We expect our state aid numbers will be available by the end of February. We will also be going out for a request for proposals for our food service program for the next calendar year. We reviewed where we are with the district health benefits for the next school year. Our broker is marketing our plans, and we will have more details by mid-March. And our next meeting is scheduled for March 13, 2025. Before I open it up for the hearing of citizens, I want to read something that I'm reading on behalf of myself as president, not on behalf of the Board of Education or any other member on the board. So I want to take a moment to address some recent comments regarding our school district's decision to implement a no homework night in recognition of Lunar New Year. First and foremost, we should remember that our schools serve a diverse community. And part of fostering a welcoming environment is acknowledging and respecting the cultural traditions that are important to many of our students and their families. Lunar New Year is a significant holiday celebrated by millions around the world, including many families in our own community. Setting aside one night without homework is a small but meaningful way to show respect and understanding for those who celebrate. To those who feel this accommodation is unnecessary, I encourage you to consider how our schools already adjust schedules for various holidays and observances, whether it be Christmas, Yom Kippur, or other important days. Recognizing Lunar New Year does not take anything away from anyone. It simply extends the same respect and appreciation to all cultures represented in our schools. At its core, this is about demonstrating kindness, respect, and a willingness to understand perspective beyond our own. More importantly, we should all take time to learn from and embrace other cultures, because in doing so, we grow not just as individuals, but as a community. When we open ourselves to different traditions, customs, and histories, we develop a deeper understanding of the world and the people around us. That understanding strengthens our connections, builds empathy, and makes us better neighbors, friends, and citizens. Now, I know that some will be quick to judge my political affiliation by the tone of my comments and cast assumptions about me. They would be mistaken. Kindness, empathy should belong to everyone. These values are not owned by one political party or another. They are fundamental human principles that transcend politics. Being thoughtful and compassionate towards others does not mean compromising one's own belief. It simply means recognizing the dignity of all people and treating them with respect. Our children learn by our actions of adults around them. If we want them to grow up to be respectful, compassionate, and open-minded individuals, we must lead by example. Let's show our children that embracing other cultures does not divide us, it unites us. Let us demonstrate that with that respect and understanding our values we should all live by, not just when it is convenient, but always. Thank you. We now come to that portion of our meeting where we allow members of the public to address the board. In this section, we allow questions or comments on reports, resolutions, and all school-related matters. The public can ask questions or make any comments regarding the proposed bond refinance. Our bond regulations number 0167 allot 20 minutes for these communications. Each person shall be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that you try to stay within this requirement. Speakers may speak more than once only after all others wishing to speak on a topic have been heard. All statements will be directed to me as the chairperson, and no one may address board members individually. Please be reminded that if your statement is too lengthy, abusive, obscene, irrelevant, or redundant, your participation may be terminated. Please remember to state your name and address each and every time you address the board. Does anyone have any questions? Come up. You can come up. Can we move the podium a little bit out more so we could see?
Good. You want me to start singing? Oh, okay. Anthony Melnicky, 249 Walnut Street, Nutley. I'll try to be as quick as I could. I just want to know what is the process of doing like approval of coaches? Because I noticed on there we're doing approvals of coaches and stuff like that for all sports. Who does the approval? How does it basically work?
So you're talking about the process, correct?
Well,
Okay.
how the process of the approval goes. Where does it start and where does it end?
Yep. Well, Mr. Bania will address that. I just want to be careful because Obviously, the board cannot discuss personnel matters, so if we're
Yeah, no,
talking
that's
about the
fine.
process, we can discuss that. If it's gonna go into questions regarding personnel, we're not gonna be
No,
able
I'm
to
just
address
just
that.
asking
Yep,
basic
absolutely.
questions.
Good evening. The process begins with a posting for each sport. Um, the athletic director completes an interview panel, interviews the people involved, makes recommendations for the sports. The athletic director also evaluates all the coaches in a summary evaluation each year.
So when somebody gets approved, does he do the approval and sends it over, or is it for do you guys get whoever puts up for a spot
Right.
in any
So the postings are handled by Karen Greco in Employee Relations. She opens the postings each year and closes them. The pool goes to the athletic director. He makes recommendations based on previous evaluations and new applicants at each position.
so when you do when jobs get put up for either basketball or whatever, they have to put them up every year for head coaches and everything. And where do they get posted?
They get posted through AppleTrack, our online system. The jobs in tonight's agenda were posted at the end of November, I believe, right, Karen?
And so for the baseball position, obviously you guys know I coach baseball for Nutley, town and stuff like that. But I never saw the head job because I went to look for it. I saw the assistant, but I never saw a head job posted to apply for that. I looked on Indeed, I looked on the Nutley board. I never found it at all unless it's possible I missed it. That's what I'm just asking.
Yes, sir. I think one of the things I did, I verified that the jobs were open for the required time lot with HR before moving the recommendations forward to the board.
Okay. So when you're as far as coaches, say last year ended and you do hiring for the next year, or you do approval of next year, do you guys keep like who actually was a coach for tennis before? And you guys, if someone's not there, do you look and ask why he's not back or she's not back or stuff like that? Or no, you just, whatever is presented to you, you just go off of that. You guys keep your stuff from the previous years of who actually was coaching for each sport.
Yeah, so the athletic director makes recommendations and we evaluate the recommendations. And I evaluate the recommendations and move them forward if they fit our process and meet the requirements.
No, that's not what I'm asking is, for instance, for tennis, if you have 4 coaches in 2023 and 2024, one of them isn't back, do you ask why he or she isn't back? Is there a reason? Is he or she going to coach somewhere else? Do you try to find out why they're not returning so we don't have that problem in the future? If you have a good
I have not asked why a coach is not returning based on the recommendations of the athletic director.
So you guys don't write down for the future? Because
tennis specifically, if there are 4 coaches and we only have 3 the following year, I do not inquire about the 4th coach. Typically.
I'm just saying if each sport has 4 coaches and one doesn't return, I think it would be best to look and see how come he or she isn't returning and maybe fix what either he or she did or what the program is doing wrong as well. I think that would help a lot for each sport. What I got, this is just a few more things and then I'll be done.
So, Mr. Milnicki,
Yes.
I don't know if there's anyone else that wants to get up and say anything, but I think we observed 3 minutes. So if you want to just,
I'll come back
if you
up
want
for
to
3
just,
more.
just have
Sure,
a seat,
no
and if there's someone else, and as soon as they're done, then if we have more time, you're allowed to obviously come back up. Is there anyone else wishing to ask any questions or comments?
Hi, I'm Deb Elber, 23 Wilmington Drive. And I just really wanted to thank the board for creating and implementing the No Homework program, which ensures students and families have the time and respect needed for religious observances without any academic conflicts. It's really a historic and meaningful policy that you guys have put together. And I'm in agreement with the comments you made earlier on the Lunar New Year. And really, what I didn't see on the pre-agenda I saw that there were no homework dates labeled, but I didn't see them with the corresponding observance names. And so I think that's important. I mean, I don't know if you have it. So my question is, do you have that? Because it's really important that we learn and acknowledge each other's holidays, really to help break down all the barriers and maybe some of the misunderstandings about the holidays. So I was just wondering, is there a written policy and is there a correspondence in the calendar with the dates to the names of the holidays?
I miss. Hello, how are you?
Good.
Good, thanks for coming. You referenced policy. The board hasn't formally adopted no homework days in its policy. It's more of our procedure and the adoption of the calendar that they're going through. The board, I make the recommendation, the board shares in what Mr. Farrar said and puts it into the calendar. But as far as it being a formal policy, the board has not taken action in the policy format yet.
Is there a way for us to, is there a way for that to be done? Is there anything that the parents can do to help?
I think you're doing it. You're providing feedback for the board,
Okay.
and the board can take that, and that's part of one of their primary functions to set policies. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we did send a letter. I was going to read it, but I don't know if that's important for public record. But if you want more people to send the letter, we're happy to organize that.
thank you.
Okay. And also, I just wanted to also say thank you for the holidays of, we did come in for Yom Kippur and that was granted and Rosh Hashanah, and then also putting the spring break over Passover also. I don't know if that's a change that's being made because earlier you said there was a mistake. So I'm not sure if that's still in there, but I also just wanted to say thank you for that recognition. It's like, I can't even say how much it means to us. So thank you.
Yeah, just for the public on the way in, it was brought to my attention that there was a disconnect between the dates listed for spring break and the dates we have written in the calendar, and we're just going to make sure that they correspond and they're correct to the dates of spring break.
That's for 25 or 26?
25, 26.
For April of 25 or April of 26?
April
for
of
next year.
26 to my
Okay.
understanding, but it was mentioned to me on the way in, so I'll have to look at everything following the
Thank
meeting.
you.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Thank you.
Dan Pratport, 236 Freeland Ave. In reference to that, when you came in, the date may be wrong, but it's still going to be the Passover. It'll still be the week before Easter. That's not changing, so all three will still be okay. I just wanted to. Good evening, everyone, and I just wanted to take a moment to sincerely thank you guys for the board for recognizing, acknowledging the importance of giving time off for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Passover in the upcoming school calendar. Seeing that the board listened and considered and ultimately made the decision to incorporate these days off truly, truly, truly means a lot to the many families in this community. The decision reflects a commitment to inclusivity, respect, and recognition of the diverse backgrounds that make up the school district. It sends a message that all students and families matter and that their traditions are valued. So on behalf of myself and everyone that this decision impacts, thank you for your consideration, your responsiveness, and your dedication to making our schools a welcoming place for all. I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Mr. Molnicki, I didn't forget about you. I didn't forget about you.
That's all right.
Okay.
Hi, Rhonda Frobos, 312 East Passaic Avenue, Nutley. I don't have any prepared remarks. I really only learned about this meeting sort of last minute, but there's something that I really want to ask you. First, I want to thank you for you're moving in the right direction, you're listening, and you're showing how Nutley Public Schools are working to not only be inclusive, but not exclude, which is equally important. And Mr. Ferraro, your statements were spot on. I'm the person who was clapping and saying thank you. You said exactly what I needed to hear as a resident of this town for over 30 years who chose to raise my family here and make my home here. And I just want to say it's a little bit sad that you had to preface that with political party affiliation. You're expressing empathy. And I just want to say thank you. Um, what I want to ask you is when you're doing this, it seems like I've heard that the town, the Board of Ed and the commissioners are working together now. I don't know exactly what that includes, to be honest, but what I'm asking you to consider is to keep your line of communication regarding these no homework nights open with the town, in particular the commissioners and the mayor's office. And I'm going to tell you why. Last fall, with the first no homework night, I believe for Rosh Hashanah, the mayor's office took that as an opportunity, knowing it was a no homework night, specifically knowing the reason for the no homework night being a Jewish holiday, purposefully planned a children's event on that night, which is counterintuitive to this whole experiment that we're doing right now, because it is an experiment. It's not even a policy yet. And I hope as educators, I think you understand that, it's not only that you want to relieve the stress of students that they don't have to do a homework assignment that night, because there's a whole bunch of ways you could go about doing that. You could single out the students that have a religious holiday and say, well, you could hand it in the next day. But you don't do that. You know why? Because that could lead to bullying, right? So the whole thing is to not only take the stress off of the students, but also to relieve them of that feeling of missing out on something that happened that night, right? Because the next day when all the kids are talking about that movie they went to, and the one kid who had the homework night didn't go to the movie because they had a religious holiday. So my hope is that the Board of Ed and the commissioners, particularly the mayor's office, work together, keep a line of communication open. When you have a no homework night, communicate it to them so that they purposely don't schedule anything because it's a no homework night. That is my ask of you. And I will tell you that when that happened, a Nutley mother went to the commissioners meeting. You could see it, it's on YouTube sometime last October. And the response that she got was so offensive. In my over 30 years living in this town, I mean, it's not been easy living in Nutley as a Jewish person, okay? But it hasn't been horrible, but I have never felt so alienated as when the town leader said that this town doesn't have to do anything just for you, which was not the ask. All the mother was asking was to not schedule something during a no homework night, which is scheduled to foster inclusivity, to not exclude students, and also to create an opportunity for learning for all the students, which is exactly what you, Board President, what you had said in your statement. It's an opportunity for everyone. So I want to thank you for continuing to listen. I won't take up any more of your time. I don't want to leave here without knowing that I asked you to keep this line of communication open with the mayor's office.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Sure, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. And this is a pretty deep, so I'll make it very quick. Maybe you could just planting the seed and you think about it, because I'll come back and I'll ask you about it. But with the federal government directives about diversity, and specifically as it relates to LGBTQ in students in public education, I'm hoping that the board is also aware of, state laws and regulations and guidance. And if you haven't already started communicating about it, I'm sure that you have, but I will be interested. I'm going to come back and I would be interested to understand how Nutley Public Schools will be handling future directives or the current directive from the federal government. Because the whole reason why I'm an advocate and an ally for the LGBTQ community is due to attending funerals of Nutley young people when my kids were in school. we don't want to see that happen, right? So everybody wants to be recognized and seen and included. And if the bar is at toleration, it's way too low. Think about when you walk into a room, if you want to be tolerated or if you want to be welcomed. If you're just tolerated, that means people can't wait for you to leave. So we want to stop saying that we're going to tolerate people and welcome our students and make them feel comfortable and welcome. Thank you for letting me
Okay,
speak.
thank you. Anyone else wishing to come up and make a comment or question? Okay, Mr. Milnicki?
I'll get to the point. I'll go real quick here. Some of you know I was a volunteer coach many years back, and I'm just trying to see, are there special, should I say, rules for certain coaches, or, you know, because it seems to me like when I coached here, I have passion for the sport, volunteered my time. I do coach baseball outside of here for our town. I was told the reason why I wasn't allowed to return was because of that. Was that not approved by the board, or was that not approved by somebody else? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. So at least I know for my own well-being.
So, Mr. Milnicki, Mr. Banya will address your question, but the Board of Education, right? We approve, we vote on things that are presented to us by our superintendent. We are not the ones that interview. We're not the ones that are involved in that process.
I
The
understand.
recommendation has to come from our superintendent.
It just seems like there's more leeway for certain coaches and not others.
But I just
That's
wanna-
that's where I have a
No,
problem.
I
with it,
understand.
you know?
I want to
You know
clarify
what I mean?
just a point as far as the Board of Education. This board is not involved in the direct process of interviewing and how that whole process works. We are here, we vote on what is recommended to us by our superintendent of
And-
schools.
And that's why I I bring that up to you. It's best just to help you guys out. Each year when there's sports going on, I think it's best take your pens and write down spring, summer, fall, whatever sports that are going on. Write down who's actually coaching for those sports. So then when the next year comes up, if that
So,
he or she isn't presented, you can ask why, how come, what
yeah.
happened. So, you know, I mean,
I understand that. So I have a couple questions on this,
Sure.
of our superintendent. So whenever there's any position that's open, the position is posted, correct? Okay.
I
So,
didn't see the
so-
head coach.
So
for-
every position is posted.
Right.
When a position is posted, it's open for a period of time.
Right.
Okay. Once it's closed, once that period of time is closed,
Right.
does that position still stay on the website, or is it get taken down from the website?
It's taken down from the website.
Okay.
So how long is it up for?
Minimum is 10 days.
Okay. So by code, it's 10 days that it has to stay up.
I've only saw the assistant coach thing. It's
Well,
still up.
That's currently what you see today. Those are open positions. So that's what I just asked Mr. Banya, is that if a position is posted, it stays open for the 10 days that we have to have it open for.
Correct.
Once the position closes, meaning the added, it gets removed off of that. So it's not something that you could see what was posted 3 months ago or 6 months ago. It's right now what you're seeing is currently open positions.
I understand,
Okay.
but
So, and that's one of the things I'm going to ask Mr. Banya to see if there's a way that we can do something on our Apple track where we can view positions that were posted previously, so that if somebody has a question as to, I didn't see it, at least they can go back and see that it was posted.
I do understand that, but Nutley is losing a lot of good coaches in every sport. And it seems like to me, it's dictated by just a couple people. And then you're like I said, you have certain sports here. Like I'll keep bringing up baseball. We have a ton of talent. I mean, a ton of talent. There is no reason why in baseball, and I understand certain sports you need to drop down. There is no reason why to drop down levels in baseball with the talent we have. We have over 30-something losses in the last 2 years. 30-something losses. So instead, we drop down. We make up a fake thing where we're playing these teams where we now we win 16 games and we act like we're actually getting better, and we're not. We're not helping our kids to actually play in the next, whether it's D3, 2-1. Dropping down does not help our kids. It doesn't. It's
I understand, and I know you're committed to the.
no, but it just seems like this, and I'll leave like this. Don't make me do your job. I shouldn't have to do your job. Listen, I'm not going to argue. I'm trying to get out of here before I get upset, but don't make me do your job. If you can't do your job, you should step down. That's all I'm saying. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Milnicki. Mr. Pena, I just have a few more follow-up questions for you. Okay. So when there's a position that's open, is that automatically renewed, or is it posted and you have to apply it each year?
Yes, our positions are posted each year. There is a recommendation from the annual that comes from the evaluation that the athletic director makes. For each position in district that's open, there's a point person, whether it be a teaching position, and usually the supervisor or principal, or in the case of athletics, our athletic director. For certain positions, panels are put together, and different stakeholders are brought together to interview candidates in several rounds typically. All new candidates get a recommendation to the board. We fill out paperwork to discuss why we select each candidate, and that's reviewed with the board. But to answer some of your questions, the point person here would be the athletic director.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board? Okay, seeing none, could I get a motion to close the public comment portion? All right, Ms. Dancheck Martin, could you move academic?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to make the motion to move academic resolutions 1 through 6 as written.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Balsamo,
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Fraginels,
Yes.
Mr. Gilberti,
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski,
Yes.
Mrs. Quirk,
Yes.
Mr. Scotty, Mr. Ferraro.
Yes. Mr. Kaczynski, administration?
Yes. I move I move administration resolutions 1 through 5.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Balsamo,
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Fraginels,
Yes.
Mr. Gilberti, Mr. Kaczynski,
Yes.
Mrs. Quirk,
Yes.
Mr. Scotty, Mr. Ferraro.
Yes. Mr. Fraginals, welcome. Motion for finance resolutions?
Thank you. I'd like to move finance resolutions 1 through 9 as written.
Discussion?
Second.
Is that a discussion, Charlie?
Yes.
No, I thought I heard you say something. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I thought you actually-
Oh, you seconded. I'm sorry. Roll call?
Mr. Balsamo,
Yes, 1 and 2. Yes, 3, with the exception I abstained from check number 219410. And yes, 4 through 9.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Fraginels,
Yes.
Mr. Gilberti, Mr. Kaczynski,
Yes.
Mrs. Quirk,
Yes.
Mr. Scotty, Mr. Ferraro.
Yes. Ms. Quirk, will you take personnel?
Yes, I move personnel resolutions 1 and 2 as written.
Second.
Roll call? I'm sorry, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Balsamo,
Yes.
Mrs. Dancheck Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Fraginels,
Yes.
Mr. Gilberti, Mr. Kaczynski,
Yes.
Mrs. Quirk,
Yes.
Mr. Scotty, Mr. Ferraro.
Abstaining to 1 and number 2. Is there any old business to come before the board? Any new business?
Yes, Mr. President. I wasn't aware that you were going to have those words for tonight, and you prefaced it as that was a statement from you personally, not for the board. Anybody out there tonight listening, you spoke for me as well.
Any other new business? Whereas the Board of Education will be discussing matters exempt from public discussion pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education recess to close executive session at this time to discuss contracts, personnel, and a HIB appeal. Be it further resolved that the results of the discussions will be made public by inclusion on the agenda of the subsequent meeting of the Board of Education, or when the reasons for discussing such matters in closed session no longer exist. Can I get a motion to adjourn into executive session?
Make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Good evening.